welcome back to CS Mentor. In this video, I'm going to be going ahead with the next topic in the RTI Act, and that is the obligations of a public authority. Now you see friends, the public authority who we defined in the previous video is an authority who is duty bound to give information to the citizens or to the public. So what is it simply enough for the law to state that a public authority has a duty to publish this information? No. The law must also specify what types of information or what types of records this public authority must maintain and what kind of records must be available to the public. Because if such a legal authority is not imposed on such public authorities, then it is very possible that some authorities may maintain such records and some other authorities may not maintain such records. So for that purpose, we come to section 4 clause 1 subsection A. 4 subsection 1 clause A. Now according to this 4 subsection 1 clause A, it states that every public authority under this act has been entrusted with a duty to maintain records and publish manuals, rules, regulations, instructions, etc. in its position as prescribed under this act. So this is a general clause stating that all public authorities have a duty to maintain such records. Next, if we go ahead and see section 4 subsection 1 subclause B, it states that every public authority has to publish this information within 120 days of the enactment of this act. So what kind of information must they publish? The first one, the particulars of its organization, function and duties. So what is this organization about? What sort of a public authority is it? What are its functions? Who are its employees? What are its duties, etc.? And there comes the second one, the powers and duties of its officers and employees. So the first thing that this authority must publish is the nature of its work, the functions of that organization, the duties of that organization, and more importantly, the powers and duties of its officers and employees. Then, for these officers and employees to work, there must be some kind of a rule book, right? So there comes the third point. The procedure followed in its decision-making process, including channels of supervision and accountability. So, who is superior to the other? Who works under this group? Who is responsible for the activities of the other? All of these things have to be laid out and specified. The next one is the norms set by it for the discharge of its functions. So for the purpose of functioning within that organization, what are the rules to be followed over there? So I would say like these two are pretty similar. The rules, regulations, instructions, manual, records used by its employees for discharging its functions. Okay, that is, what is the rule book that must be followed over there? What are the norms? What are the procedures to be followed by its employees? A statement of the categories of documents held by it or under its control. Do they have information of the citizens? Do they have information of house addresses? Or what kind of information do they hold? How are they using that information? Everything must be specified. The particulars of any arrangement that exists for consultation with or representation by members of public in relation to formulation of policy or implementation thereof. So what does this point mean? Simply put that it is a public authority. Now for the purpose of existing, for the purpose of functioning, that public authority may require new policy to be set in place. Let's take for example housing. For the purpose of housing, let's assume that the housing board in Tamil Nadu has to change its policy simply because of matters of industrial boom, or many workers are coming in from nearby villages into Tamil Nadu, or from even other states. They're coming into Tamil Nadu and they're setting up illegal encroachments all over the place. So what the government has decided to do is, they've decided, okay, we'll set up housing for these workers. Now, to set up housing for the workers, they'll have to implement some kind of a policy for that. And this policy, how it's to be implemented, all of these things will be will be in consultation with some kind of public authority? That is exactly what this point means. It simply means that every government authority has to work with regards to some kind of policy. And for the purpose of implementation of that policy, like the example that I gave you with regards to housing, okay, the public authority must publish this information to the public. So let's take, for example, the Tamil Nadu government. When it spoke about housing, it will come in contact with say builders. It will come in contact with people who can supply raw material. It will come in contact with people who can provide design. Okay, all of these things the Tamil Nadu government will have to do. Now, when I mean Tamil Nadu government, do I mean the whole of the Tamil Nadu government? No, there will be one particular public authority who will be in charge of ensuring this. They will be in touch with people who can implement such housing for workers who are coming into Tamil Nadu. So, this policy, this information must be made public. The next point is a statement of the boards, councils, committees, and other bodies consisting of 2 or more, okay, constituted by it. Additionally, information as to whether these meetings are open to the public and minutes of such meetings are accessible to the public. So, essentially, it's not just required that information regarding employees and its officers, but also with regards to all the committees, councils, boards that are implemented by it. By whom? By the public authority. A directory of its officers and employees. The monthly remuneration, that is basically the salary of these officers and employees. The budget allocated to the agency. Every public authority will work within a budget. So they must plan out according to that budget only and work regarding the same. The manner of execution of subsidy programs. What do you mean by subsidy programs? Now, let's take, for example, gas cylinders. Okay. Now, what happens is the cost of a gas cylinder could be somewhere around 900 rupees. Now, 900 rupees is very, very expensive for gas, especially, let's say, the working class people or people who do not earn that much money. They still require gas. Okay. So, what will happen is that the government will step in. Okay. And then when supplying to the final consumer, that is the people of this country, the government will say that, okay, even though the gas is 900 rupees per cylinder, y'all simply pay 400 rupees for it. So this end consumer is only giving 400 rupees, whereas the government is paying the supplier the remaining 500 rupees. Now, this 500 rupee thing, this 500 rupees that we're talking about here is only what you called subsidy. Okay. So, what is a subsidy? A subsidy is basically something that the government is doing to ensure that the people of the country are able to access certain resources regardless of the cost of that particular that particular product. Then you have the particulars of recipients of concessions, permits, and authorizations. So if, let's say during COVID, everyone was under lockdown, but who was not under lockdown? You had people, that is the healthcare workers. Okay, I'm just going to write HC, healthcare workers. Then you had essential supplies, and then you had certain government persons who could not be under lockdown. Now, all of these people would have been given some kind of a permit. They were given permits to function regardless of the lockdown in place. So, the details of these permits, these concessions, and these authorizations must also be made public. Then you have details or information available to that particular authority in electronic form, which means that authority is not exactly holding that information as their own, but then they've received the same and therefore it must be made public. Then the particulars of any facilities available to the citizens, that is the working hours of libraries or reading room, which is maintained for public use. Now let's take, for example, you go to a court premises. In a court, you can get access to the library over there. But this library is only there for certain working hours. Therefore, this information must be made public. The names, designations, and other particulars of public information officers. Who are these public information officers? These are the people who will be giving the information that you require. So their information must be made public. Only then the citizens will know who to approach, right? And then finally, such other information as may be prescribed. So friends, this section 4, that is the obligations of the public authority, is a very, very important part of RTI, because this constitutes the very teeth of the legislation. It states that under subclause A, it states that all public authorities must maintain certain manuals and records, etc. Whereas in subclause B, there is an imposition of a certain time period of 120 days, saying that all of these informations and processes that we just discussed has to be made public within 120 days. And very interestingly, they go ahead and they say this last point over here: such other information as may be prescribed and thereafter updated every year. So it is not restricted to these 17 points over here, but then they're essentially saying that in the future, if more information comes to light, then that should also be made public. Do hit the subscribe button if you like my video, and I shall see you in the next one.